by this time you might have got an idea who those who started creating the objects. Okay. So in the merchandise, you can generally store like some merchandise informations like different mobiles information or Apple or even any product which you have in the warehouse. You can store that information. Apple, how many products are there? So 100 products are there, 100 mobiles. Each mobile cost to $400. Okay, and the next one is say some other product. You can take like tabs. So there are 200 tabs are there. Each cost $200. So like this, we can store the merchandise information in the merchandise object. So what are the fields on it? If you open the merchandise object, you can see some custom fields on it. So this have provided in the book itself. So you can just follow the same book. How to create an object I showed you. Creating a mobile phone separate object. The same way we are going to create many custom objects for explore the Salesforce concepts. Out of those in that book, these three objects they have given: merchandise, invoice statement, and line item. Total inventory. So total inventory means like total stock. How many the product. So you can enter some name. For example, you want to purchase
Prakash, you're not clear. It looks like you're talking from a well.
No, Prakash, your
voice is breaking too much. It's because of internet connection.
Okay. It was good. So still is it facing any issues? Still it's having same issue?
Yes.
Okay, 1 second. Now?
Yeah, now it's okay.
It's okay, right?
Yes.
You're okay.
Just check it. Yeah. Yeah. So it is the information. So some price you will do. What is each laptop price, for example, say $400, and then quantity you have with you. Okay. So now one merchandise information we are creating. Now there will be many people associated with the business, like there are many vendors or many sellers are there, products from the warehouse. Like they don't have stock, they will order from the warehouse. Like I want 50 laptops, so they will order it. So if you want to do all those things, we are configuring like we are creating some other objects to do that business, just for understanding purpose. So real-time business, it not happen like the same way come in and creating over here. So to get that request from the sellers, we are creating some objects over here. Another one is invoice statement, another one is a line item. And then we will create a link between those two objects. So our aim is to understand what is the relationship between the objects. So far we understand the individual fields on it. Now how to make relationship with other object by using a field. Yes, so there is an invoice statement. So for example, say XYZ company ordered, they want some laptops from the warehouse, and they will, what they will do, they will generate an invoice. Yes, so they generate invoice statement as open first time. It's a new object. Invoice statement is another object with two fields only, status and description. Okay, and under this invoice statement there is a link. There is another object called line items. So from this line items they can order each and every item. So line item 1, what they want, what merchandise they want. So they want laptops. Okay, select laptop. How many they want? They want 20 laptops. Save it. Now this invoice, under this invoice, one line item is there. So they have ordered one line. So we have configured such a way, once they entered a unit sold, then automatically the price is getting calculated. How this is getting calculated? Based upon the laptop price, $400 we have given, right? That price into the unit sold, this is the total price. And based upon this total price, the total inventory is also getting calculated over here. The total invoice value. Again, if he creates one more line item, in the sense he's trying to order multiple line items at a time for one invoice. So this time he wants to order LG and then say, I mean I have not entered the amount, sorry. 0. Let me enter how many ones. He wants 10. Save it. So now even for this also, so there is no price, I think so, for LG. That is the reason the price is not getting calculated. So it's 0. So the aim is like we are creating one invoice statement, and then some items, whatever items he wants, he will add it, and then finally he will send this invoice statement for warehouse, so that they will review the quote and whatever the invoice they have generated, and he will approve whether the status is approved or rejected, or it may be in closed or negotiating, anything. So once it is closed means they have delivered the products. Okay, so we want to configure this type of scenario. So we will create some objects and then we will do it. Okay, this is the one which we are learning. So now to create new objects, as usual, new create invoice statement object and then create line item object. So line item object is the one which is important over here, because this will have a link for the two objects. So how to create a relationship? So if you go through the book, you can see 3 different objects information, invoice statement having 2 fields only. One is description, one is status and description. Okay, create only 2 fields. See, one is status is a pick list field and description. Fine. The third object, line item object. So now line item object, what I have decided to store. So whenever they create any line item entry, I'm going to capture few informations. What is the information? I want to select what merchandise is going to order. That means I am going to create a link between line item and merchandise object. That is my aim. So for that, I will go and I will create as a custom field over here. New. You see here, there are 3 types of lookup relationships. 3 types of relationships are there. So what are these relationships? If you want to maintain a relation, if you want to maintain link between from one object to another object, so we can achieve it by creating a relationship field on that object. There are 2 types of relationship. One is lookup, another one is master detail. So what is meant by lookup? What is meant by master detail? Both are used to create a bridge between 2 objects, but in case of a lookup relationship, it is a loosely coupled relationship. Loosely coupled means in any relationship, definitely 2 parties are there. Like one record is linked with some other record. Okay. So in lookup relationship, what will happen? So this record is associated with this record. That means this is linked with this one. If you delete the record 1, still the record 2 will be there in the database. In case of lookup relationship. So if there is a lookup relationship between the 2 objects, then if you delete the parent reference, still the child reference will exist because of the loosely coupled nature of lookup relationship. Whereas in case of a master detail, if you delete the master, then the child record is also get deleted. Generally, if there is a relationship between 2 objects, means one is a parent side, another one is the child side. In master detail relationship, this is a parent-child relationship. So if you delete the parent, definitely all the childs are deleted. So take an example. You have some bank account. So they have all the information of your transactions. When you close your account, do they really need to store your transactions which you did? No. Why? Because you are no more customer with them. Why they want to keep your information with them? Your transaction information. There is no use. So in this type of situation, what relationship you will go between customer object and the transaction object? You can go for master detail, because when there is a customer record is deleted, all the data associated with him, all the transactions, or is there any objects like that, even those data also should go. Then in that case, you will choose master detail relationship between two objects. Whereas lookup is let the parent is deleted, still the child should exist. In that case, you will go for lookup relationship. But both are to create both are used to create the relationship between the objects. Okay, so Salesforce supports one-to-many and many-to-one directly by using these two. So you can consider like one record linked with multiple records. Like one can be linked with 3, one can be linked with 4. Okay, that means record 1 has 3 childs. Those childs are record 2, record 3, record 4. It's like one-to-many. Many-to-one means like reverse, like 2, 3, 4. Both records are linked with record 1. So the same, if you see in Oracle, you have some primary key, foreign key concept. The same way even here we have this lookup and master detail directly. The one advantage is we are getting, Salesforce is providing the direct data type itself. The entire relationship they will give as a simple data type. So how to create the data type? You just need to select the type, what type you are going to create. You are going to create lookup or master detail. This external lookup, right? So this is when you want to integrate, whenever integration process is there, at that time you can use this external relationship. Okay, so we are not going to use this. We are going to work on only these two, lookup and master detail. So some description they have given here. What is the difference between lookup and master detail? Even there is an interview question also. What is the difference between lookup and master? Some properties are there. Lookup relationship is loosely coupled, whereas parent and child both have individual look and feel, individual properties. If you delete one record, still the reference will exist. Whereas in case of master detail, tightly coupled, and if you delete the parent, all the child records will be deleted. So child records look and feel, child records properties will be driven by the parent. Okay, and then how to create relations. So I selected some field over here like that. Next, the one limitation, some limitations are the lookup we can create maximum 25 lookups. Okay, but whereas in case of master detail, so these limits will be vary from version to version. Maybe latest release they may have increased. We will check it. So 25 is the limit. We can create 25 relationship from one object to another object. But whereas in case of master detail, you can create only 2 master details on an object. So if there is an object 1, then this object 1 can be a master for 2 objects. That will be for object. This can be child for 2 objects at a time. So either master object 2 and object 3. So on this object 1, you can create 2 master details. One with object 2, one with object. That's it. If you create 2 details on one object, then the limit is over. You cannot create it. Now if you see here, on line item object, I have already created 2 master details, merchandise and invoice statement. That is the reason I am not able to create another master detail. So if you see here, this is disabled. But for you people, it will get enabled. Both are similar. It's not like there won't be any difference. when you do the process, creating the field. But the only difference is while you selecting the type, all the properties will behave accordingly. So in case of a lookup, even lookup without having a reference, without having a parent, the child will exist. That will be blank. The value will be blank. That means it's not even linked with any record. But even in case of a master detail, without parent, the child is not at all exist. Definitely the parent record should be there for the detail. So master detail means master means parent, detail means child record. We always will go and create a relationship at the detail side, not on the master side. So we will go to the child object, whichever object you are going to create the relationship. We will go on to the child and we will select the parent as a master detail, and then we'll save that field. Okay. So now see here. First, I'm going to create a lookup relationship. There is a line item object I told you, right? So I'm selected lookup. Click next. So this is the only step. You have to select to what object you are going to relate. All available objects will be displayed over here. To which object you are going to link it. For example, you are going to link with some account object, standard object. Select account. Click next. That's it. You just need to select this one. The remaining steps are as usual. Setting field level permissions and then setting yes, just need to tab out, giving the API name. So some optional values are there. Okay, whether it's required or what should happen if you delete the parent one, it should be deleted. You can just select some optionals. Click next. And then field level, profile level permissions. Click next. Page layout. Next. Save. Now see, so I have created one field on line item, which is that is a relationship field with account object. Now from now onwards, if I go and create line item record, you can see the relationship field also will be available to select. Yeah, see, this is the relationship field. How we have created number field, integer field, the same way we have created one relationship field also. We can select. If you click that lens icon, right? So it will display all the available account records or whichever records you created link. You can select any one record and you can save it. Now what we did it here, for line item object, we create a link for account object. This relationship is lookup relationship. So in lookup relationship, what will happen? Even if you delete a abstracted account, still the line item will exist. Why? Because this is loosely coupled relationship. But in case of master detail, so these two are master detail relationship, merchandise and invoice statement. If you delete merchandise, then what will happen? Automatically this line item also will get deleted because of the master detail nature. Any doubts until, please let me know.
Yeah, Prakash, I have a question. This account should be in the same app, or it should not? It should be in another app or something.
No. See, app is different. App is just to show the tabs over here. That's it. No object associated with the app. Only app. Advantage of app is just to show some tabs very easily at the top. Some objects at the top. If an object is not appearing here, that doesn't mean that is not linked with this app. That may be there even is plus symbol also.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, we have to look up with the same app, or can we do that in, I mean, across the apps?
Across the apps. See, this object is not linked with any app. Any object, I'm telling you, not this object. Even link with any object, it's that object is not should be associated with the current app. No, there is no concept like that. There is no relationship with the object and the app. Purpose of app is just to display some tabs, available tabs. Okay, but this object should be exist. That's it. For this object, there should be some tab created. That's it. Whether the tab is associated with any app, the tab is not associated, doesn't matter.
Okay. Mr. Prakash, like that means like for the entire license, you have got only two master relationships to create.
No, not for license. This is only for individual objects. So this is a line item object, right?
Okay.
On this object, you can create two master detail.
Okay.
There is a student object.
Again, you can do two. Okay.
Yes, individual object. On this object, you can create only two master detail relationship maximum.
Okay.
That means one object can link with max two objects as a master detail relationship. Beyond that, you cannot create.
Okay, fine.
Same way for lookup, you can link it with 25 lookup. You cannot cross 25 relationships.
Okay, got it.
Okay, so lookup is both, like creating a lookup, creating a master detail process is simple, but the properties of that field you have to understand it. So in case of lookup, so I will just show you one example how lookups look. So there are many objects I created, okay, test objects. So you don't need to create all those. For your understanding, I will open one object randomly. So there is some student object. On this student object, we have two links over here. See, one is opportunity, one is account. Now, once I created a relationship between two objects, from one object to another object, I can easily go by using this link. Now, if I want to go to this associated opportunity, I can go this opportunity object. See, this is an opportunity. This is completely different object. This object is nowhere here. Okay. So now, when you are seeing a relationship on a particular field, on an object as a field. So this is one field, right? On this object, student object, first name is one field, last name is one field. Same way, opportunity also one field. It's a lookup field. So if you are able to see one relationship on an object, that means that student is a child. On the child object, you will see the parent one as a field. But on the parent record or on the parent object, you can see the child, that student record as a related list. Related list means like this. So these and all are the related list. If one object is linked with some other object, you can see the related list over here like this. See, this opportunity is linked with two students. One is student 11 and student 1. You need to understand only this concept thoroughly. So the relationship, if you understand, over the schema level, we are done with everything. So on a parent, if you see some child records, then that will be in some section. But on the child record, you can see the parent as some field. Maybe this child again may have linked with some other child, that is different thing. If you see here, student detail also has some childs. So these are called as related list. Remember the word related list. So example object is one related list. This is one related list. If you see some related list means that is a child for the object. So this Google Docs, notes and attachment. This is a standard object called attachment. The standard object given by Salesforce. But whereas this example object is I have created. This is also a link, have some link with the student. So now I want to create some example objects associated with the student detail. I can go and create it here. As long as I click it, then what will happen? Automatically that lookup value will be populated. Why? Because I am creating from student 11 record. So it's created student 11. It automatically populated over here. I can enter some more values and then I can save the record. Once I save the record, what will happen? This record will go and create as a child under S011. I'll just tell you.
I have a quick question, Prakash.
Yes, please.
You said the parent-child relationship, we cannot have more than two in a object.
Yes, master detail relationship per object.
That being said, if I want to link 4 or 5 different objects, I can link, say, object 1 to object 2 and object 1 to object 3, and then from 3, say object 1 to object 2, you have 2 parent-child relationship.
Correct.
Can I take another parent-child from object 2 to object 3, or that's not allowed?
1 second. Repeat it one more time. So there is object 1, 3 objects. Object 2,
yes.
Object 3.
Object 3. Say I have a parent-child I have a parent-child relationship from object 1 to object 2.
So remember, I want to just add one more point over here. So whenever you are creating a relationship between these 2 objects, okay, you need to select, you have to choose it, okay, which one you are going to make parent, which one you are going to become, we are going to decide as a child, okay. Now, you decided I want to make object 1 as a parent, and I want to make this object 2 as a child. Okay, then you will go on to the child object. You will select, you will create a field as master detail, and you will select object 1 as a relationship in it.
Okay, so that is considered as one relationship.
Correct.
And say from object 2, I also have another relationship to object 3.
Okay, fine. Then what you will do again here, you will just go and create another field on object 2, that is also master detail, and it is, this time it is linked with object 3. Okay.
So now for object 2, both the things are done. I cannot make any more connections, right?
You cannot make any more
parent-child.
Exactly. Master detail relationship you cannot make. That is done. But you want to make object 2 to object 4, yes, you can do, but this time you cannot select parent detail. You have to select lookup.
Okay.
Lookup relationship.
Okay. Or I have to go from object 3 to object 4.
Yeah, in case if you want to make object 3 to object 4, you can go for on object 4 and you can make with object 3. Because this object 3 again linked with object 2, right? Internally you can traverse from one to another, another to another. But if you want to make direct relationship, you can go for lookup relationship.
Okay.
That's what you are seeing over here. Yeah. In my line item object, if you see here line item, I have already created 2 master detail, right? So one master detail with merchandise, one with invoice statement. Now when I try to create a relationship field, that is not enabled at all. So that is disabled. See here, that is disabled. Why? Because already my limits are over. I am done with 2 master details.
Okay.
So that is about lookup.
Yeah. In this screen, I have one more question for you. The one that you wrote, the master child or whatever, parent child. So now for object 2 to object 1, you already have a relationship. From object 1, can I make 2 relationships, one to object 3 and one to object 4?
That's a very good question, but you need to be very careful because in a master detail relationship, a master is always a master. Yes, you are telling.
So he cannot be a child.
Correct. So this object 3 is also a master, object 1 is also master. So in between these two, you cannot select as a, you mean to say, yes, you mean to say what you are trying, you are telling object 3 is going to be child as object 1, right?
Object 3 is the child of, say, yeah, object 1 or object
yes,
4. Whatever.
Correct. You can do. So the custom objects and standard objects, the different thing is there. In the standard objects, so far we discussed all these are custom objects. We are assuming that object 1, object 2, those are custom objects. But in case of a standard object given by Salesforce, right, like this account, contact, opportunity. So when you are creating a relationship with standard objects, okay, you cannot make a standard object as a child. Remember that. Between standard objects and custom objects, when you are creating a relationship, you always make custom object as a child to standard object. You never create a standard object as a child to custom object. But within custom objects, yes, you can create however you want. We have just discussed about object 1, object 2. Now I am telling you more specific objects. Standard object, custom object. So between custom objects, yes, we can do however you said. But when it comes to standard object, even we can create the same way, master detail, everything. But when you are selecting the master detail, you cannot select parent object as master. I mean, you cannot select parent object as child. You have to, the parent object always a standard object in between standard and custom object relationship. So more specific, I will put it in another way. Account is standard object, contact is standard object, opportunities, these are standard objects. Now I want to create a relationship between object 1 and object 2. I mean this any one of these 3 standard objects. Now you can create a lookup relationship between these two, but when you're creating a master detail, okay, the standard object is always a master. That means on object 1 you can go and create a master detail as account, but you cannot go on to the account and create one master detail as object 1 like this. So standard object is always a master in master detail relationship between custom and standard objects. So that is the final point. Confusion? Getting confused, guys?
Yeah, got it. Thank you.
Yeah. So the properties I told you, right? So look and feel, everything will be look and feel in the sense whatever the parent object properties will be inherited for the child also in case of master detail. But in case of lookup detail, you can, both are individual because we say loosely coupled. Even if you delete one, other also still exist, and it's not required also. Without selecting a value, still the record will exist. For example, take this invoice statement. I created lookup to account, right, just now for the testing purpose. So now when you're creating here, see, without having value, still the record is exist. But you cannot create the same in case of master detail, because without master, no child record. Without LG record, no line item. When you're creating line item, definitely you have to select which merchandise, or definitely you have to select for which invoice, because of the nature, master detail nature. And even you can see here, it is locked. You cannot change also. But lookup, yes, no. We can create a record without having a lookup value. So basically we created a link between two objects, but I am creating a record without another record, without having a link. I'm just creating alone. Maybe in future if you want to create a link, I can create it. Okay. So that is about lookup and master detail. Both are one-to-many and many-to-one. So generally relationships are types of one-to-one, one-to-many, many-to-one, many-to-many. 4 relationships are there. One-to-many means one object, one record can link it with multiple records. Now if you see invoice statement 3, one invoice is linked with multiple line items. So the same invoice linked with one, the same invoice linked with two also. Now if you go and see on those records, you can see that as a reference. This is line item 1 linked with invoice 003 and the line item 2 linked with invoice 003. Okay, so this is called as one to many. Many to one means reverse case, like these two many records linked with one invoice statement. In the first case, one invoice linked with multiple line items, many line items linked with one invoice. So there is another concept called many to many. That means many records linked with many other records. So this concept is a little confusing. So I'm not going to discuss this today. I will discuss tomorrow. So we'll go for other concepts. So one advantage here is in master detail, we have another field called roll-up summary field. Now if you see on the fields, we are done with all the fields, even the relationships also we are done. Now there is another two types of fields. One is a formula field, another one is roll-up summary field. See here, roll-up summary and formula. Roll-up summary fields means this field will only enable on master detail relationship and on the parent object. Okay, in a master detail relationship, only on the parent object, this roll-up summary field we can create it. So the name will give some idea, roll-up summary. So the purpose of that field is we can do some aggregate function, we can apply some aggregate function on the child records. So now I want to see how many child records are there as a number on the parent without counting it. For example, there are 100 line items. I don't want to count all the 100 line items. I want to see entire count of those records on the parent. Basically, we are trying to do some aggregate function on the child records and displaying it on the parent. So for example, I want to see all the sum of this each and every line item values on the parent itself. So that by seeing that invoice statement, I can tell you, okay, this invoice entire value is this much. The actual value is there on the child record, but my aim is to sum up all the records and display it on the parent. So to do that, this roll-up summary fields are there. You can just read it. It's a read-only field. Displays the sum, minimum or maximum. We can apply any one of these three, plus even we can apply count also. It's a read-only field. Why it's read-only field? Because this is derived from the sum of the child records. So you don't have an option to child it. So this is example I have created already. I will show how to create also. So now here the sum is 0 and this is 1,60,000. I will go and I will edit the second one sum to some 10 lakh or something. So I cannot directly change it. It is coming from the calculated value called LG. I will do one thing. I will delete it. I will create another record. Otherwise, you can go to LG and then you can put some amount on it. New line item. Some merchandise. So without parent, the child cannot exist. Save it. Yes. See here now total sum is 1,60,000 plus 50. So sum became now 2,10,000. Alright. So maybe this formula is wrongly I have written, I think so. Total invoice value see 2,10,000. How it is changed? Because of how many records we are going to create, it will sum up and it will display it over here. So how to create invoice roll-up summary. Next. And it will give an option what name you want to give. Next. Yes, you have 4 options. You can apply, you can summarize, you can roll up by any one of these. If you want to display a count, you can display, you want to check the sum, or you want to check the minimum value of the line items. Out of those line items, you want to see what is the minimum value. Then you can select any one. Before that, you have to apply on what object. For example, one object have multiple childs, right? On which child record you want to summarize line items. Yes, I want to see sum, count, or min, max. What I want to see maximum value, or I want to see minimum value. Fine. On what you want to do that? Out of these values, on which field you are planning to apply the function. I have decided to check the minimum of value field. Then click next. Then this is field level security. If you see here, the next one is read only, automatically disabled. Selected and disabled. Why? Because roll-up summaries are read only. You cannot change it because that is derived values. Those will populated by child records. So you don't have control on it. You just need to see and you have to access it. As long as you create it, that will be available in the layout. Now if you refresh it, it's a calculated value. Even for the existing records also it will calculate and will display. See here, test sum of 50,000. Okay, from now onwards you don't need to change that field. If you change any value here, automatically that will be changed. Example, we decided to put some 100 rupees and save it. Now see, the value will become 2000 and the roll-up summary is 2000. This is automatically populated based upon this. So this is about roll-up summary. Any doubts here? So we are done with roll-up summary, lookup and master detail, and only one formula field is pending. We'll be covering tomorrow. So there are 2 other relationships. Along with lookup and master detail, there are 2 other relationships. One is self relationship. So the name will tells you what is a relationship. Self. You want to create a relationship to the same object. So far we are creating relationship from multiple objects, from one object to another. Like for your understanding, object 1 is linked with object 2, object 2 is linked with object 3, right? Now I want to create a link from object 1 to object 1. Object 1 to object 1. How can I make? There is no difference in it. We don't have any special data type for it. Okay. Like we don't have any data type. We have only 2 data types. One is lookup and master detail to create a relationship. When it comes to self relationship, if this is some object, then you can still select the same lookup relationship. But when it comes to the related to, right, here you can select same object. For example, you are creating a relationship on the student object. You want to create a link from student to student. Then you can select the same object. Next. Then what will happen? It's like the relationship to the same object. Okay, so for example, take the institute. Some of them may come from referral. So for example, I have an object called student where I will store some student information. On the student record, I have some field called referred by. So referred by is also another student who is with me. I can easily refer some other student name in it. So it's a self relationship. Look up to the same object is called self relationship. There is no data type, but you need to know even that type of relationships also will exist. Okay, and the final one is hierarchical relationship. What is meant by hierarchical relationship? Hierarchical is also a self relationship, but this is only available on standard object called user. So we have one standard object called user. If you want to create a relationship from user object to user object, then that is called as a hierarchical relationship. So go to manage users, users. User is a standard object. You can see the standard object. Yes. You click new user. Generally, while creating a user, it will ask you who is the manager for this user. You see here, manager. So when you're creating a user, you will select some manager for him. Who is this manager? He is also one more user as like you in your organization, right? That means there is a relationship on the user object which is a relationship to the same user. This is one type of what relationship? That is one type of hierarchical relationship. Yes. So you can see it over here on the user object. These are the standard fields. You can create a new custom field also. When you click new field, it will display as it is. However we create, right, it will display the same, but only you can see hierarchical relationship. Allows users to click a lookup icon and select another user from the pop-up list. That's it. Now we are done with the relationship. Total 4 relationships. One is lookup and master detail. So basically we will be having 2 types of relationship as a field, custom fields. But when it comes to the types of relationship, we have lookup, we have master detail, and we have self, and we have hierarchical. What is in the self? Self means look up to the relationship to the same object. Hierarchical also look up relationship to the same object, but this is only available on user object, standard object, that is user object. That's it. So if the self relationship on user object is a hierarchical. All will support one to many and many to one. There is another type called many to many, which we are going to discuss tomorrow. So we can achieve by using we can implement the many to many by creating 2 master detail relationship. So we have already covered this, but the conceptually I have to explain it. We can achieve the many to many relationship by creating 2 master detail objects and child object. This object 2 is a junction object between object 1 and object 3. So there is a concept called junction object we are going to cover tomorrow. That's it for the day, guys. Any doubts? So you can proceed the book now. I mean, maybe
What
I'm not
page
sure.
do you want us to proceed to?
You created 3 objects.
Yeah, I did. I created the relationship. I did some external data, CSV file. I got in the data into my object.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
fine. Then that's good. Like when you covered it, then wait for 2 more days. I will provide you one Excel sheet where that having more objects in it. Raju and Sudhir, you guys, what is the update from your side? Yes, Sudhir.
Me, I'm same following the one which you're telling, till objects creating